Kindly sit down. Thank you. You know, Sunny Dominguez is my childhood friend. We were neighbors and we grew up together. And he was the consistent valedictorian from kindergarten to above. He has always been fond of money. He had plenty to spend. I remember we could only afford the banana queue, but he used at that time, already in the primary school, he was eating ham and egg, chicken sandwich, and his pocket was always full of money. Now that we are about to retire from public life, he still has got of money and more than that, billions. Ganyan nga naman talaga ang buhay. So that is how it is. Excellencies of the Diplomatic Corps, Secretary Dominguez III and members of the Cabinet present here, Commissioner Nicael Peldon, mga kasama ko sa gobyerno, mga kababayan. You know, my office prepares a speech every event. There's always one, but they limit it to about, the longest is about 3 minutes. Even when I was mayor for the last 23 years and a congressman, I limited myself to about 5 minutes. Even my inaugural speech was just 4.5. I do not read speeches because it does not reflect what is in my heart. And so I've always been, kung ano lang ang nandyan, yun na lang ang sasabihin ko. But because there are visitors here who might not really be, sometimes nagmumura ako, I'd rather to be prim and proper this afternoon. But after that, I may just opt to say some more. Revenues gives us the means to run government and provide crucial services to our people. As the money collected by the Bureau of Customs counts for a significant chunk of government earnings, we have to be relentless in our drive to maintain credible, efficient, and effective Customs Bureau. Your theme, United Towards Transformational Change, is therefore truly on point. It runs parallel with government's program to institute real and lasting change in our bureaucracy and society. It also is reflective of the many changes taking place in the Bureau of Customs today. The modest collection performance posted last November 2016 was an eye-opener. It was the first time that government was truly able to exceed collection targets since December of 2014. Truly, as long as we put our minds to our tasks and remain committed to serve the Filipino people, we can achieve our goals. Thus, I urge the agency to continue to find ways to improve its operations, continue to simplify procedures and centralize operations, particularly in the areas of trade facilitation and border control, so that we can keep hitting and exceeding targets in the coming years. May the BOC also keep in collaboration with its foreign counterparts by exchanging information and finding more avenues of cooperation. as the BOC is at the front line of our campaign against smuggling and illegal drugs, I encourage you to beef up your customs enforcement operations. You have my full support in developing the BOC's law enforcement capabilities, and so you can conduct these operations more effectively and efficiently. As part of the efforts to continue to improve and monitor customs operations, as well as the criminal and illegal activities, we now have the CCTV cameras in strategic locations around the port area of Manila and the BOC building. The footages are also live streamed online so our people can see the Bureau of Customs operations in real time. So the combined efforts of its leadership, its employees, the private sector, and the Filipino people, I am hopeful that the Bureau of Customs will no longer be tagged as among the most corrupt agencies in the coming years. As we set out to implement reforms, improve operations, and crack down against graft and corruption, you will see that some of your colleagues and friends will be affected by our efforts. It is my hope that you'll lend me your support in bringing them into the light or in bringing them down if they choose so. This is the only way to revitalize the Bureau of Customs and therefore our people's trust in government. And may I say something about just what I would not attribute it to any particular period of our history of recent and past. But alam mo, lahat naman tayo. I do not claim to be the cleanest guy in town. But I've always been passionate about my country. I'm not a real big-time politician. I just live in a small town in Mindanao. And whatever it is, I really do not know until now what brought me to the presidency. I did not even have one single leader in Metro Manila. And the ratings up to the election on the eve was still at about 4-3, 4-3, 4-3. I never went up the ladder of 2 and 1. But when the votes came in, I was really surprised by the gift that the Filipino bestowed upon me. And that is why I had to do some soul searching, an introspection of the soul, because I am not really also, we all love, sabi ko, fit of clay. Lahat naman tayo. But itong, my cardinal rule in life has always been, pagka nakataya na ang bayan ko, there shall be no compromise. That have always been my philosophy, even when I was mayor and a congressman. And, I won the mayorship of Davao in 1988. And I served throughout these years until the presidency. I never lost an election. This is not to pull my own chair, but to illustrate to you what my election to the presidency is all about. And it's all about God and destiny. Alam mo naman niya, I mean, you know me, maybe from afar. But when I won, I said, God, what does this mean? The staggering votes that I got. And as the, huwag na muna kasi sabihin nila, kausap ko na naman ang Diyos. Say that, Duterte is a little bit off his rockers because he claims to have talked to God. But that is not really a problem. The problem would be if God starts to talk to me. Diyan ang problema natin kung saan natin hanapin yan. But when you talk to God, you can always communicate verbally, even verbose. There's nothing wrong with it. And if you say that God said that, well, nagluluko lang talaga ako. But, these media people, they are not really attuned to my character. Sa 5 salita, 2 lang yung tama niyan, yung 3, puro kalukuhan yan. And so I'm just fond of doing it. Gusto ko lang tumawa. Well, at the expense also of myself sometimes, people. But I said, I made 3 fundamental promises. And you're all there, maybe on radio and kung nakinig kayo. He said that I will stop corruption. And for the so many years that the people were in agony and suffering, I committed myself to give the nation a respite of wrongdoing. So pasensya na po kayo yung nagtinamaan. For those na talagang who have the heart into it, wala tayong problema. Yung iba naman na, the frills aside from the salary, you're bound to lose some. Hindi naman ako ng gusto ko ng santo. But always promote government interest. First. Yan talaga. First, government interest. Protect government interest. Pag yan ang nagawa ninyo, wala tayong problema. Wala kang problema sa akin. Then I promise that I will try to suppress drugs. I have been receiving so many lectures and communications and criticism. But if we do not control drugs, and it has reached the 4 million, 5. Yung original kay Santiago yon, General Venimos Padilla. Yung akin was almost 1 million plus. I have reached that number. And we have created, or the drug industry has created or reduced some Filipinos to slavery. Yan ang masakit sa akin. Because once you are afflicted or contaminated with drugs, and shabu is a very virulent chemical, 1 year use plus, you lose your sanity. Ibig sabihin talagang, that is why, to tell you frankly, sabi nila yung Colombia has been lecturing about me, that idiot. Doon cocaine. Cocaine pati heroin is not really, but cocaine is more or less marijuana. Medyo okay yan. You can still communicate. But with shabu, alam ba ninyo yung shabu, ang minimix niyan, tubig ng baterya. The fact alone that it is mixed using battery water will give you an indication of what's going to happen inside your brain. We have created about 4 million addicts. They are slaves. You're better off with buying a slave in the markets of Africa, in the slave markets of the Middle East. Okay pa yan. Because you can buy a slave and work, let the guy work for you. Ito, with the 4 million almost confirmed, how many of them will go crazy? I really do not know. But there are now millions addicted to a chemical at the expense of our nation and fatten the pockets of the drug lords. So itong extrajudicial killing and issues, just put it aside. For those really done in the performance of duty, wag yung iba. I take full legal responsibility. And if there's somebody who should go to prison, it is not the policeman, it is not the military, it is not the customs, the PDEA. Ako. Me. Ako, I will answer for everything that I ordered and I am obeyed following the law. For those extrajudicial killing, I'll give you an insight. I don't know about the rest. You know, sabi ng police, they are awarded with 5,000, 10,000. Why should I give you 5 or 10,000? It's your duty to kill, idiot. That's why you are there. But you know, we are trying to control trafficking. And trafficking means that there is a seller and a buyer. If you do not have that kind of transaction, there is no trafficking. And that is why they are given 5,000, 10,000 to buy so that there can be a seller and a buyer. And that is trafficking. Because if you just catch him with the possession, the penalty is light, he can post the bail. Ang ginawa nitong sandali lang kayo, magmura tayo. Dandaan lang. Ang ginawa itong mga, sige, gago na lang. Huwag na yung, gago na to, magkipag-transaction, barilin yung tao, wala naman transaction, kunin pa yung pera, pati siya buo, edi pagbili uli. Nga gusto kong patayin kahapon. Kaya lang maraming media, palinisin ko na sana sa Pasig, kung malas naman, wala namang water lily. Malinis eh. Sabi ko, sige, diyan kayo. Do not change your position. I have a cabinet meeting. Pagbaba ko, if there is another position that you have adopted, I'll kick you. Sabi ko, then Bato said that he's going to retrain them. No. I will not go into that kind of rigmarole. Training, tapos na yan. Hindi mo naman, you cannot train a criminal mind. It always works along evil ways. Sabi ko, prepare to be dispatched to Basilan and Hulo. Kasi naubos na ang mga pulis ko doon, kakapatay, ambos. So I need more policemen there. You will go there and fight the bandits and the extremists. If you come out alive after my 6-year term, you can come back here in Manila. Or better still, to spare the family of expenses, you better buy some place there in the memorial parks. Still very cheap. Ganon talaga. There's no other way. They will go to the war zone. I need to place there law enforcers na, ano masabi ko, pagbayan na nga, hindi talaga tayo if it is the interest and the welfare of my country and to preserve the Filipino, we have nothing to talk about. I don't give a shit about Because if there are drugs and nobody's selling it, there's no harm, actually. Just leave there at the warehouse or a shipload. Do not try to bring it down. But if you start to sell it, then there's trouble for the country. And I will not just, not in my time. Not in my time. And the fullness of God's time, maybe. As long as there is a pusher, there's always the contention that, Duterte is killing the rich, the poor, and the rich. They're always asking, so where's the big fish? Then we started with the mayors. They were killed along the way, ambos and everything. So there's the big fish. So where's the small fish? They are poor. Oh, the problem is they are part of the apparatus. As long you might be poor or rich, as long as you peddle drugs, the problem will always remain because it is an apparatus. You have to destroy. I'm not saying killing. My orders to the military and the police is destroy the apparatus of the drug industry. If you have to kill, go ahead. That is what it is. Then we have becoming, like to warn you also over there, guys. We're about to open the barter trade. It's the only way that we can, alam mo noon yung may barter trade, when there was this barter trade, there were no Abu Sayyaf, there were no extremists because everybody was making a living. Everybody gainfully employed. I really do not know why they cut it. And that was the time when they had a very serious problem about law and order in that place. Now we have the ISIS coming in and they baptized Absalom, who is now in Bidrao, sowing terror. So have so many fronts to face. Government, Commissioner Pildon, you'll have your hands full. Because you will have the Communist Front confronting us. I terminated the ceasefire talks because they went overboard. Then you have the drug front and the coming of the ISIS. They will come, I am sure. We have already anointed a leader from Sulu who is now in central Mindanao. And the war there is going on until now. There's a war going on in the central Mindanao. So that's the bigger problem. I would need money to buy the equipments and the things that I would need to keep this country in order. So I'd like to thank the Bureau of Customs for raising the revenue, at least a big chunk of the money comes from your toil and sweat. So, salamat, talagang salamat, at maybe I will raise your salary to maybe 1 million per month. It's okay na. 1 million each. Okay na yan. But that would be for I am the 16th president. That would be the duty now of the 25th president to implement my promise. In the meantime, live simply. I have been a prosecutor I was doing trial work for almost 9 years. The secret really there is, do not crave for things which you cannot afford. Do not dream of things which are beyond your reach. You'll be tempted to pasok. I cannot make myself an example because that would corny pakinggan. But you know, our defense secretary was once upon a time assigned in my area. He brought in the scout rangers of the armed forces about 15 years ago. Magkakilala na kami ni Secretary Lorenzana. But little did I know that when appointed him, it was Pastor Kibuloy who told me, you know, your defense secretary was our valedictorian in Cotabato City, Notre Dame. And he was the valedictorian of his class, PMA. Used to look handsome, but now no more hair. So he used to be a very imposing figure when he was a military man. But what I got from him now is wisdom. We do not go out and quarrel with everybody. We just would like to make friends with anybody. Ganon, that's the policy. We are not trying to veer away. We will not renege on our treaty obligations. But as far as it can really be maintained, we want peace with all nations. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Ni Pangulong Duterte sa ika-100 at 15 anibersaryo ng Bureau of Customs. Pinasalamatan ng Pangulo ang mga kawani ng Bureau of Customs at anyay live simply sa kanyang mensahe. Malaki daw ang papel na nakokolekta ng Bureau of Customs para sa pondo ng gobyerno. Pero kailangan daw na mas maging efficient at mas magkaroon ng kredibilidad ang ahensya. Kailangan din daw gawing simple ang proseso sa Bureau of Customs dahil frontliners daw ang customs sa laban ng bansa kontra smuggling at illegal na droga. Kaya kailangan daw ay humanap ng mas maayos na paraan para mas maging maganda ang serbisyo ng ahensya. Umaasa rin ng Pangulo na hindi na daw matatag ang Bureau of Customs bilang most corrupt agency sa mga susunod na taon.